He spends millions like pocket change, not on yachts or mansions, but tanks, golden states, and islands. He's not a prince, he's a YouTuber, MrBeast. And what you're about to see? The most ridiculous, luxurious, and bizarre things he has ever bought. Every empire has a humble beginning. Before private jets, before multi-million-dollar game shows, before gifting away neighborhoods like party favors, there was a backyard. A simple, suburban backyard, and $80,000 worth of tiny, colorful, bouncy plastic balls known as Orbeez. At first glance, it looks innocent enough. A harmless prank. Fill your friend's yard with millions of water beads and watch the chaos unfold. Classic internet fun, right? Except, when you flood the internet with something this big, the ripple effects hit harder than you expect. That video didn't just rack up millions of views overnight. It sent Orbeez sales skyrocketing. Suddenly, parents everywhere were being begged to buy bags for them. Toy companies probably sent Jimmy a thank you note. And maybe a fruit basket. But here's the twist. The very thing that seemed so playful quickly turned into a public health warning. Those same squishy beads? They look a little too much like candy to curious toddlers. Hospitals began reporting cases of children swallowing them. Some even suffered severe blockages and needed emergency surgery. Now, of course, MrBeast didn't set out to start a national choking hazard trend, but it's the first glimpse into a recurring theme with him. When Jimmy spends big, the consequences for better or worse tend to be much bigger. It was the first time we saw just how far he was willing to go for a viral moment. And it wouldn't be the last time a simple idea snowballed into something far larger, far stranger, and far more expensive. In most stories about wealth, vehicles are a predictable chapter. The exotic car collection, the luxury yacht docked in Monaco, maybe a private jet or two parked neatly on standby. But in MrBeast's universe, the word predictable doesn't exist. Let's begin with something modest, by his standards. A $90,000 custom yacht, not the kind designed to blend in at a marina, but one branded unmistakably with his own name. Because if you're going to sail, you might as well make the ocean remember you. But a boat was merely an appetizer. Enter the Fortnite Battle Bus. Not a virtual one, a real-life, fully functional, meticulously customized battle bus, complete with horns, rap, and all the absurd glory of a video game fever dream brought to reality. And just in case one wasn't enough, he bought two. Together, these rolling monuments to digital chaos set him back $225,000. Somewhere out there, there are Fortune 500 CEOs who've spent less on company cars. Then, because video game vehicles apparently weren't insane enough, Jimmy took a hard left into military-grade territory. 5 tanks. Yes, tanks. The kind designed to flatten obstacles, and maybe countries. Each worth a casual $125,000. Total $625,000. They're not props. They can fire missiles, and no, we still don't know how a YouTuber got clearance for that. Maybe the Pentagon's just a fan. But if you thought the madness stopped there, allow me to introduce one of the few times success caught up with him. 2018. Freshly in possession of a brand new BMW i8. Price tag, $100,000. Sleek. Fast. Perfect for the classic internet stunt. A little street race with another driver egging him on. 122 miles per hour later. Flashing lights. Sirens. And MrBeast in the back of a police cruiser, charged with reckless driving and illegal street racing. Turns out, even when you're worth millions, speed limits still apply. Of course, for Jimmy, it wasn't much of a setback. Fast forward a few years, and the man's giving away Lamborghinis like candy, slapping jet engines onto cars twice, and casually spending $4.6 million across Teslas, supercars, and well, vehicles that probably shouldn't exist. There's a fine line between luxury and obsession. For most, luxury is sipping champagne on a yacht, maybe a penthouse suite overlooking the city skyline. For MrBeast, that's just a Tuesday afternoon warm-up. Let's start small. Christmas lights. You've probably seen a few impressive displays. Maybe your neighbor who goes overboard each December. But Jimmy, he doesn't do impressive, he does legendary. In one video, he spent $250,000 turning an entire neighborhood into what can only be described as the Las Vegas Strip, disguised as Christmas. Over 1 million lights, synchronized shows, enough electricity to probably warrant a call from the power company. But even lighting up the suburbs wasn't enough to satisfy his appetite for the extreme. When it comes to vacations, most people book a flight, maybe a nice hotel, a fancy dinner reservation. Jimmy doesn't book vacations, he buys them. Let's break this down. First, a casual resort rental in Mexico costs $10,000 a night. Next, he ups the ante, renting out the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Yes, the Eiffel Tower, because apparently, landmarks are available if you have the right credit card. Still too tame? Off to Switzerland, where he checks into the same resort where world leaders and presidents hold secret meetings. Subtle flex, right? But why stop there when you can top it all off with a VIP tour of Japan alongside the biggest YouTuber in the country? Because why vacation solo when you can turn it into content? Total vacation bill? A smooth $410,000 for what most people would call a break. But in Jimmy's world, relaxation is just another production. The skies aren't the limit. Jet set madness. Of course, traveling commercially would be far too ordinary. Over the years, MrBeast has developed a bit of a relationship with private aviation. A very, very expensive relationship. From premium first-class tickets worth $10,000 to chartering entire private jets for $100,000 a pop, and eventually leveling up to $500,000 flight on a private Boeing 777, owned by a billionaire himself. At this point, Jimmy isn't flying. He's basically playing real-life flight simulator with unlimited coins. All in all, his combined ticket prices and private jet escapades have cost him upwards of $3.9 million. Just to move from point A to point B. But in MrBeast's world, there's no such thing as a simple trip. What's fascinating isn't the money, it's the progression. Lighting up cities, renting landmarks, flying in private jets, each move bigger, flashier, more excessive than the last. For most, luxury is a destination. For Jimmy, it's an ever-moving finish line, one he keeps pushing further, just to see if anyone else can keep up. There's a certain point in wealth where money stops buying things and starts buying statements. For some, it's owning rare art. For others, private islands. But for MrBeast, sometimes the ultimate flex is simply sitting down and literally eating gold. It all began innocently enough if you consider a $10,000 dinner innocent. 4 glistening steaks, each wrapped delicately in edible 24-karat gold leaf, served with the kind of presentation that would make a Michelin-starred chef do a double take. Of course, for Jimmy, it wasn't about the taste. Because, spoiler, gold doesn't taste like much. It was about the headline, the spectacle, the absurdity of chewing on a small fortune and calling it lunch. But a few steaks weren't nearly enough. Next stop, pizza. Not just any pizza, the most obscenely expensive pizza ever baked. Topped with edible gold flakes, rare truffles flown in from Italy, imported caviar, and an aged cheese blend worth more than most people's rent. The final bill? A $76,000. That's right, for the price of a luxury car. Jimmy bought a simple pie, cut it into slices, and devoured it in front of millions of viewers, because why settle for pepperoni when you can have a golden crust? Still not satisfied, he took it even further. The piece de resistance, a meal so ridiculously lavish it sounds made up. A $150,000 combo platter starting with, of course, a gold-covered steak, followed by a dessert of gold-infused ice cream, served in a crystal goblet. Yes, gold in the appetizer, gold in the main course, gold in the dessert. Forget about Michelin stars at this point. Jimmy's meals come with their own stock portfolio. In total, MrBeast has spent nearly $400,000, not on cars, not on houses, but on food that's designed to sparkle more than satisfy. It's absurd. It's extravagant. It's the culinary equivalent of setting cash on fire, except in his case, it generates millions in views and headlines. Because when you've conquered every other corner of luxury, sometimes the next logical step is to eat your wealth, one golden bite at a time. It's easy to assume that when someone's throwing around millions on golden steaks and private jets, charity might be the last thing on their mind. But in the grand spectacle of MrBeast's world, philanthropy isn't a footnote, it's another headline. Another carefully orchestrated production, only this time, instead of flexing wealth, he's flexing generosity. In 2019, while most influencers were busy selling merch or launching makeup lines, Jimmy decided to plant an entire forest. Team Trees, a campaign promising to plant one tree for every dollar donated. Now, anyone can donate, but MrBeast, naturally, had to outdo everyone, including his own co-collaborator, Mark Rober. He donated precisely $200,001, not $200,000. That extra $1, purely so his name would sit just one spot above Rober's on the leaderboard. Philanthropy, sure, but make no mistake, it's still a competition. A couple years later, the stakes got even higher. Enter Team C's, a new challenge. Remove 1 pound of trash from the ocean for every dollar raised. Again, Jimmy didn't just promote the cause, he dropped $100,011 of his own money. Once again, that extra $11 wasn't random, just enough to outpace the next donor. The result? Over 30 million pounds of trash pulled from the oceans, and millions of viewers seeing that charity could be just as viral as any stunt. But Jimmy doesn't stop at planting trees or cleaning seas. He's also tackled more direct, tangible missions, funding the construction of 100 wells across Africa, bringing clean water to communities who desperately need it, sponsoring life-changing surgeries, famously helping 1,000 people regain their sight by paying for cataract procedures. Total cost for these projects? Roughly $1.3 million. Pocket change compared to his spend on supercars, but priceless to those lives forever changed. What's remarkable here isn't just the scale of giving, it's how seamlessly MrBeast has woven charity into the very fabric of his brand. Where most see philanthropy as an act of quiet humility, Jimmy turns it into a public spectacle, and in doing so, reaches millions who might never have cared otherwise. In the world of online entertainment, there's a familiar formula. A flashy thumbnail, a challenge, maybe a prize. But MrBeast doesn't follow formulas, he obliterates them. For him, giving away a gift card isn't enough. Why settle for a prize when you can give away an entire house? Or better yet, an entire neighborhood? It started small. Back in 2019, Jimmy casually tipped a pizza delivery guy with a house. Yes, a house. A modest $150,000 property, casually handed over with the keys and a smile. But as with everything MrBeast touches, one house simply wasn't enough. Fast forward, he's handing out houses like candy at Halloween. One video, $200,000 homes. Another, a house sold for $1. And then came the grand gesture, buying an entire neighborhood in North Carolina, customized specifically to house his employees and closest collaborators. Estimated cost? Roughly $2 million. Forget giveaway merch. MrBeast gives away zip codes. But what's a house when you can build something truly surreal? The Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory. Not a set, not a simulation. A full-scale, edible playground straight from fiction, brought to life with a price tag of $1 million. Rivers of chocolate, giant candy walls, marshmallow rooms, a golden ticket challenge, reimagined for the YouTube age. Because if you're going to create childhood dreams, you might as well make them bigger, shinier, and entirely real. But nothing quite defines MrBeast's philosophy of entertainment on steroids like his Squid Game recreation. While Netflix spent millions producing the original show, Jimmy thought, why not outdo them on YouTube? He meticulously rebuilt every iconic set, designed elaborate challenges, and even gave away a life-changing cash prize. Total cost? A staggering $4 million. The result? More views than Netflix's actual series. A production so over the top, it blurred the line between content creator and media empire. For MrBeast, entertainment isn't just about clicks and views, it's about scale, spectacle, taking every simple idea, whether it's a house, a chocolate bar, or a TV show, and amplifying it until reality feels like fiction. While others create content, Jimmy builds worlds. In the glittering kingdom of MrBeast, where yachts, superstars, and private islands are mere props, there's always an undercurrent of risk. Because when spending millions becomes the norm, eventually, the stakes have to rise. And that's where Jimmy's fascination with gambling enters the scene. It started, like many things in the MrBeast universe, innocently enough with scratch-offs. But not just a handful like the average person might buy at a gas station. No, that wouldn't make headlines. Jimmy bought thousands, then tens of thousands, entire walls plastered in shimmering, colorful lottery tickets. At one point, he dropped over $1 million in a single video, scratching for hours, hoping to hit it big. Because apparently, when you're worth millions, the only way to make gambling interesting is to gamble more than most people's life savings. The total? $1.18 million spent on scratch-offs in the hopes of striking gold. Spoiler, the house always wins. But the rabbit hole goes deeper. Before the world knew him as YouTube's most generous philanthropist, MrBeast had another lesser-known phase, one that's since been almost entirely wiped from the internet. Years ago, when he was still growing his channel, Jimmy dipped his toes into a much murkier world: CSGO gambling sites. These sites allowed players, many of them teenagers, to gamble weapon skins in exchange for real money. It was a legal gray zone at best, and a moral minefield at worst. With a growing following, MrBeast became a frontman for some of these platforms. Sponsored deals, promotional codes, encouraging fans to try their luck. Of course, as scrutiny around these sites increased, the videos quietly disappeared, most of them scrubbed from existence, as if that chapter never happened. But it's a reminder, for all of the polished philanthropy and viral challenges, even empires like MrBeast have shadows. It's easy to see the gambling videos as harmless fun, $1 million spent for entertainment, shrugged off like pocket change. But beneath the glitter, there's a recurring theme: an addiction not to gambling itself, but to the thrill of risk, the chase of what if. Because when you've already conquered YouTube, when you've given away millions, and when luxury becomes routine, the only thing left to gamble with is how far you're willing to push it. By now, it's clear that MrBeast doesn't just spend money, he builds ecosystems. And while his videos often focus on explosive stunts and jaw-dropping giveaways, behind the scenes, Jimmy is quietly constructing something even more powerful: his own infrastructure empire. Let's start with his brief flirtation with cryptocurrency. At the peak of the crypto craze, most people were investing cautiously, or not at all. MrBeast, of course, took a different route. He dropped $2 million on a full-scale crypto mining warehouse, rows upon rows of high-powered machines, grinding 24/7 in search of digital gold. Did it make money? Not really. Between electricity costs and market dips, the operation reportedly ran at a loss. But in typical MrBeast fashion, it was never really about the profit. It was about pushing the limits of what one person can build. But perhaps his boldest infrastructure project isn't digital at all. It's physical. A colossal, custom-built production studio, complete with soundproof stages, multi-level offices, and even sprinkler systems robust enough to withstand, well, blowing up cars indoors. Lined with over 100 cameras, this space isn't just a set, it's an engine. A self-contained factory designed to churn out viral videos at industrial scale. While other creators rent studios, MrBeast owns the machine. Because when you reach a certain level of success, you stop playing by the world's rules and start building your own. And in Jimmy's case, the infrastructure he's created ensures one thing: MrBeast isn't just a YouTuber anymore, he's an institution. Most people see destruction as wasteful, a loss, a mess to clean up afterward. But in MrBeast's world, destruction is an investment. It's a calculated line item in the budget, a spectacle with a guaranteed return. It started innocently enough: a few oversized Minecraft creepers, some fireworks displays that are bigger than your city's entire 4th of July budget. But like everything else in the MrBeast empire, the scale escalated quickly. Before long, Jimmy was orchestrating full-scale explosions, including the largest dynamite blast ever filmed on YouTube. Not once, but twice. And then came the piece de resistance: trains. 3 fully operational trains, each costing upwards of $800,000, meticulously purchased, only to be spectacularly destroyed on camera. Because in MrBeast's universe, when one explosion isn't enough, why not level up and blow up entire locomotives? While others build to preserve, Jimmy builds to obliterate. Not for chaos, but for control, turning demolition into entertainment. destruction into business, and making sure that every dollar spent on mayhem pays itself back in millions of views. In the grand symphony of MrBeast spending the golden stakes, the $1 million game shows, the tanks, the trains, the neighborhoods, there's one purchase that stands above them all. Not because it's the most expensive, not because it's the flashiest, but because it's the ultimate symbol of something few can ever dream: owning a piece of the earth itself. His first land acquisition came with a price tag of $800,000, a bargain by billionaire standards, but an unfathomable flex for a YouTuber. Why buy beachfront property when you can buy the whole beach? Of course, this wasn't just a private getaway. Jimmy, true to form, turned the island into a viral playground. Challenges, giveaways, survival games, and naturally, a camera capturing every moment. 2 videos, millions of views, and an island that felt less like real estate and more like a content stage. But one island, it seems, wasn't enough. For his 100 million subscriber special, Jimmy leveled up, purchasing a second island for $2 million. This wasn't a sandy plot of land, it was the real deal. Vast, untouched, framed by turquoise water, the kind of place Bond villains and tech moguls dream about. And of course, he gave it away. Because in the MrBeast universe, owning a private island is impressive, but giving one away is legendary. Altogether, MrBeast's island investments total nearly $3 million, but the real currency isn't dollars, it's influence. While others buy islands to escape the world, Jimmy buys them to broadcast to it. A reminder that in his hands, ownership isn't about possession, it's about spectacle. Because when you've conquered YouTube, bought tanks, trains, and golden pizzas, the next natural step is, quite literally, to start buying continents. At this point, it's tempting to look at the yachts, the tanks, the islands, the gold-covered feasts, and call it excess. But MrBeast's empire isn't built on extravagance for extravagance's sake. Every private jet, every exploding train, every $1 million giveaway is meticulously calculated. Because in Jimmy's world, spending millions isn't about showing off. It's about breaking the internet, bending reality, and leaving everyone wondering, what's next? While others build empires to protect their wealth, MrBeast builds his to entertain, to shock, to give, and to push boundaries no one else dares to cross. And if there's one thing that's certain, it's that his next move will make even all of this look small. If you enjoyed this video about the millionaires and MrBeast's crazy expenses, you'll definitely like this one about the luxurious life of Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States. You'll be shocked to find out what she spends all her money on. Don't miss it!